You have air conditioning, 15-minute food delivery, and terabytes of entertainment packed into a glass rectangle in your palm. Yet inside you, a sticky, cold, unfillable void yawns wide. Why? You aren't tired. You are overfed on counterfeits. Your brain is a 2-million-year-old ancient predator locked inside a sterile cage and force-fed cheap digital substitutes 24 hours a day. It waited for struggle, mortal danger, starvation, and triumph after hours of tracking prey. But it gets endless pixels, likes, and notifications. The system cracked. But why did this comfort mutate into a personal torture chamber? Let's descend into the primal layer, right where your biological code was forged. Forget modern offices, loans, and therapists for a moment. Look at reality through the eyes of your direct ancestor. That exact Proto whose DNA still dictates how you breathe, fear, and desire. In Proto's world, there were no supermarkets bathed in round-the-clock illumination. Cruel, uncompromising scarcity ruled supreme. Every single calorie carried a price tag written in liters of sweat, torn ligaments, and the constant risk of being shredded by an apex predator. Survival was never guaranteed to anyone. Mornings began not with a cup of coffee, but with tracking water sources and inspecting fresh prints on damp soil, knowing that any mistake meant immediate erasure from the land of the living and a forgotten death in the wild wilderness. Inside this harsh matrix, dopamine served an entirely different purpose than it does today. Modern pop psychology has corrupted the term, turning it into a convenient synonym for a happiness hormone. That is a complete lie. Nature never designed dopamine to make you feel joyful while lounging on a couch watching shows. Dopamine is a fuel whip. It is a chemical survival stimulus built into our nervous system for one specific task: forcing the organism to push forward despite extreme fatigue, physical pain, and panicky fear. When Proto discovered rare bushes of wild sweet berries or leftovers from another predator's kill, his brain released a burst of this neurotransmitter not for a celebration, but as a strict command. You are on the right path, keep moving, or your lineage vanishes forever into the dust of deep time. This rigid coupling defined every step of humanity for millennia. Effort always equaled reward. The reward was rare, precious, and vital for the physical continuation of the species. If you did not move, you instantly vanished from the gene pool. Nature engineered a flawless balance between expended energy and acquired resource. The brain knew the rules of this ancient game by heart. If you want sugar, run 20 miles under a blazing sun across rugged terrain. If you want safety, build a shelter with your own hands using heavy boulders and branches. This mechanics operated seamlessly for hundreds of thousands of years because the surrounding environment fiercely resisted humanity. Nature pushed back against every single breath, testing the structural integrity of the human frame day after relentless day without a single moment of rest. And right here emerges the pivotal question you must ask yourself. Why did the sudden evaporation of this resistance completely shatter the human psyche? If you want to know why your organism goes on strike amid absolute comfort, subscribe to the channel and drop a few lines in the comments. Which specific detail of this biological mechanism makes you shudder? Your voice helps keep the archive independent. Because when civilization destroyed external environmental resistance, it broke the core survival algorithm. Modern humans receive calories, information, social approval, and fabricated safety absolutely free with a single click. You no longer need to track a mammoth for hours just to eat a piece of fat. You merely reach out to a delivery person at your doorstep. The brain receives maximum dopamine reward at zero physical or energetic cost. From the standpoint of evolutionary biology, this is absolute nonsense, a systemic glitch that the organism can only interpret as a lethal threat. You receive the ultimate prize, without playing the game. And that is precisely why this black hole opened up inside you, impossible to heal with shopping or entertainment. Let us look closer at the sheer mechanical weight of this mismatch. When an organism receives maximal reward for zero exertion, the neurochemical receptors do not celebrate. They panic. They flood. They burn out. They build an impenetrable wall of numbness.
This is why you can sit in a room filled with every luxury known to civilization and feel like you are suffocating in a vacuum. Your internal engine is idling at maximum RPM, with the brakes welded shut, screaming for a physical reality that no longer exists outside these walls. The biological machinery inside your cells is desperately scanning the horizon for the physical obstacles it was engineered to conquer, finding only smooth drywall, glowing screens, and total emptiness. And as this internal engine grinds against itself in the dark, the true price of our comfort finally becomes clear. We traded the brutal clarity of survival for the slow, agonizing rot of absolute ease, watching our own ancient biology turn against us while we sleep. Look closely at what happens inside your skull at this exact second. Why does a casual tap on a glowing glass rectangle trigger a neurochemical surge that rivals the primal triumph of an ancient hunter downing a massive beast? The answer lies in the total blindness of your biological architecture. When civilization kicked open the floodgates and let an endless torrent of cheap stimuli rush into every home, it ignored a fundamental rule. Proto's brain never learned how to filter excess because excess did not exist in the wild. Every reward was a rare trophy soaked in sweat, muscle tears, and raw risk. Slow sugars from wild roots, rare chunks of fat, a fleeting moment of safety by a flame. Everything was rationed by the harshest environment. Receptors had time to reset and regain sensitivity. Now imagine that valve permanently jammed wide open. Why does an avalanche of non-stop notifications, short video loops, sugar bombs, and digital validation transform your internal landscape into a scorched wasteland? Because evolutionary machinery was never built to withstand a relentless artillery strike of cheap rewards. When receptors collide with a perpetual tsunami of frictionless stimuli, they cannot process the onslaught. To protect themselves from meltdown, neurons pull down shutters. They physically blunt sensitivity, numbing the entire system. What sparked mild interest yesterday leaves absolute emptiness today. You pump up the dose. You scroll faster, search harder, consume sweeter junk, but the organism refuses to fire. Why? Because your sensitivity threshold rocketed into the stratosphere, leaving real life looking like a flavorless backdrop where nothing matters. This is precisely where the system fractures. The brain registers this synthetic paradise as a trap, yet it cannot break free because cellular machinery is paralyzed by numbness. If you are sick of waking up exhausted and want to understand why silence triggers panic, share this video with someone glued to their phone at night and drop a comment about which minute of scrolling makes you sick. Your input helps us fight corporate censorship. This chemical prison keeps you locked on a tight leash. You convince yourself you are resting while lying in the dark with a screen inches from your face, but your nervous system screams from structural fatigue, choking on gigabytes of other people's lives and catastrophes. Why does the organism keep burning reserves on things it does not need? Because the ancient code demands forward movement, yet receives a corpse-cold simulation of progress. Every swipe is a ghost step on a treadmill going nowhere, leaving the physical frame starved for authentic friction. Let us strip away polite illusions. Without the clean, sharp pain of striving against elements, the dopamine pathway rots from inside. Your cells do not know smartphones. They register an unnatural hum of electrical ghosts. They interpret hyperabundant comfort as an ongoing siege, activating emergency defense protocols that turn reward circuitry into a silent executioner. Why pay with mental stability
for a world eliminating effort. Because ease is ultimate evolutionary poison, and we drink it by the gallon, not noticing the empty cup. Consider structural hypocrisy of daily routines. We sit immobile for 10 hours, feeding eyes hypercaloric visual garbage, then wonder why willpower evaporates. The brain looks at the barren landscape of effortless lifestyle and starves, recognizing a biological lie. Why strive for real achievements when Digital Matrix hands out virtual tokens for doing nothing? The ancient loop short-circuited, leaving a hollow shell mistaking motion for progress.
To break this cycle, stop lying to yourself. This is not personal failure. It is a collision between biology and ruthless design. Every engineered notification and infinite scroll feature was weaponized against a nomadic hunter's fragile wiring. Why walk straight into this open-air cage, trading birthright for hollow noise? The archive doors are open. Diagnosis is absolute. But the exit requires facing the unvarnished mirror. Why does your organism perceive absolute comfort as a lethal threat rather than a triumphant victory? Why does a modern human, surrounded by marvels, feel as though they are being slowly buried alive in concrete? The answer lies within the most primitive layer of our biology, a layer completely ignoring corporate career achievements, mortgages, and vacation plans. Your organism is not a flexible adaptation machine for arbitrary conditions. It is a rigidly wired survival engine forged for a hostile planet. When our ancient ancestor Proto limped back into a damp cave after 3 grueling days of hunting without food, his cells did not relax. They shifted straight into combat readiness. Why? Because in the prehistoric world, safety was never permanent. It was merely a brief breathing space before the next storm. Here unfolds the paradox shattering millions of lives. Why does the brain sabotage long-term goals the moment external threats vanish? Why do you feel sick waking up when nothing is killing you?
Because evolutionary code is not programmed to pursue happiness. Its single directive is to force action through pain, hunger, and friction. When the necessity to fight for meat or shield your body from predators disappears, the ancient survival circuit loses its anchor. Without environmental resistance, the internal combustion engine begins burning itself out. You get stuck in procrastination, not because you are lazy, but because your inner Proto refuses to idle where effort and reward are erased. Why do we stubbornly ignore this rebellion, trying to drown agony with digital content? If you want to dig to the roots of biological isolation without fake gurus, share this investigation and drop a comment telling us when your brain screams loudest for digital junk. This keeps our archive independent. Look at how sabotage operates microscopically. Every cell remembers storms, ice ages, and famines wiping out predecessors.
When you sit on a sofa, stuffing calories from plastic wrappers, your ecosystem registers an unnatural alarm. The brain interprets peace as a severe systemic crisis, treating stillness like paralysis before a catastrophe. Why? Because throughout history, immobility combined with food surplus meant trauma or death trapped in a collapse. Organism reacts with absolute panic, triggering self-destruct protocols. This explains why willpower overhauls collapse into dust. You try reprogramming a sprinter built for torrential rain using polite self-talk. It fails. Until you drag harsh friction, cold, and scarcity back into routines, your brain treats modern civilization as a hostile matrix. We locked ourselves in a gilded cage, throwing away the key our ancestors forged, wondering why blood feels like freezing water. Let us call things by true names without therapeutic fairy tales. No meditation erases the disease of absolute ease. Every minute slouching in a padded chair is a nail in the coffin of potential. Why are we terrified of acknowledging the obvious? Truth demands tearing down routines and enduring tension.
The archive door closes, but choice remains. Rot inside digital illusion, or force ancient machinery to function as designed. We reach the end of this forensic trail, standing at the precipice where ancient biology slams into modern brick walls. Why do we accept silent erosion of will and sanity as the price of progress? Look at the wreckage. We surrendered raw instincts, traded survival friction for a padded cell, and wondered why minds dissolved into chronic apathy. Proto did not fight ice ages and starvation for descendants to rot in climate boxes, numbing neural pathways with pixels. The trap profits off exhaustion, but the key rests in your hands. Why refuse to turn it? Let's strip comfortable lies. No life hack or motivational speech saves you from biological mismatch. Neurochemistry ignores comfort zones or fragile feelings. It hungers for friction, genuine struggle, and unadulterated reality. When you starve your system of modern artificial ease, forcing your frame to endure heavy loads, cold, silence, and real resistance, emotional numbness shatters.
Burnt receptors claw back, restoring electric clarity. Why keep punishing biological wiring with an unsuited lifestyle? This hits our closed archive's conclusion. You cannot rewrite Proto's DNA, but you control your environment. Every choice to embrace physical discomfort instead of digital anesthesia is an armed rebellion against corporate consumership. If you refuse to let the modern matrix consume your primal core, subscribe, share this video, and leave a bold comment telling us how you break the dopamine loop today. This keeps our independent archive alive and uncensored. Consider the stakes. For generations, we were told evolution stopped when cities arose. That lie is foundational poison. Your cells do not know skyscrapers. They operate under wild laws, interpreting sedentary hours as terminal decline. Breaking the loop stages an insurrection inside your nervous system. Why let an engineered matrix dictate your final chapter when you hold the power to rewrite rules?
Look at the psychological toll. We eliminated obstacles only to manufacture artificial gym difficulties, running on treadmills and paying fortunes for cold plunges because memory knows spirit withers without friction. Acknowledging this means admitting our lifestyle is a comfortable suicide pact. We must dismantle illusion until facing unvarnished biology. The archive file slams shut, but the blood and sweat test begins now. Prison walls are as strong as your willingness to stay locked. The ancient nomad in your blood screams for a horizon, waiting for you to drop surrogates and smash the glass cage. Break the loop. Follow Proto's shadow. The forensic investigation has only just begun.